From Provo, Utah, this is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy. Welcome to another episode. Yet another episode. What are we at? Like 59 here?
Something like that. 59.
Yeah, okay.
Episode 59.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast, recorded a day early in honor of 4th of July for you Americans out there. Merca.
Yeah.
Merca. Tomorrow we get to celebrate Merca.
It's true. I'm going to celebrate it by sleeping in.
Yeah.
Start off the celebration.
Yeah, we start out the celebration. Actually, it's not even a day early. It is the 4th of July, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like...
Because we are recording a little late.
Yeah, we brewed us some beer, so that'll be exciting in about a month.
Yeah, we're brewing our first batch of beer, and we took the grains and made a loaf of bread. So if you hear a beeping in the background at some point during this episode, it means it's probably ready.
Yep, so we'll be stopping that. Although, by the way, my name is Caleb.
And I'm Joe.
And what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, we're going to be starting the first episode in a...
Oh my God.
In a running series called The History of Square-Enix.
Oh, okay.
Why?
I thought it was going to be...
Super Sexy Swinging Fanfiction 8?
No. No, I thought
I'm ready.
We're going to do a brewcast.
You thought we were going to do...
Brewcast, yeah.
Oh, a brewcast. Oh,
yeah, we... what would we even
We're
do?
making a Final Fantasy flavored drink. Yeah. Whatever that means.
No. So... This will be exciting.
Salty, yet sweet. You Kingdom Hearts fans will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're going with that. But that's exciting. We got a Square-Enix piece. But of course, before anything else, I mean, you guys...
They got to know the plugs, man. You got to know that you got to go to youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy.
Subscribe, or no, better yet, follow us on Twitter. It's at UFF Podcast, Facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy.
Find us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com, search Ultima Final Fantasy, and please support us on Patreon.
Yeah, $1 a month.
You get some cool stuff, but at the very least, $1 a month. You can give us 25 cents a month. It would be so awesome.
Yeah, and you get the episodes a day early or 2 days early. Shit, I'm probably going to stay up and throw the shit up tonight. Not that anyone's going to be, in the mood for podcasts on the 4th of July, but you never know.
That's true.
It'll be available. And of course, you can get all of that info and more at the website. It's
UltimaFinalFantasy.com.
And of course, last but definitely not least, you can watch me play Final Fantasy 12 or whatever the fuck Final Fantasy we're on.
Just go to Twitch.
Twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy.
Yes, Twitch.tv. That's right.
And it's good stuff. The only thing I will not be doing is Final Fuck 10. That is against Twitch policy. Or else I would do a commentary on it and be like, no, I don't like what they did with the design there.
Okay. All right, you might want to pull up the soundboard. What are you doing in 12?
Right now in Final Fantasy 12, I just barely took out Dr. Sid for the second time and fought Judge Gabranth. So I did quite a bit. I mean, I took out like 4 or 5 boss fights yesterday or the day before, whenever I played that fucking thing. And I've done, I think, 34 hunts. I did the Gilgamesh hunt, but I fucked up bad, man. I messed up bad. There's parts where you're supposed to steal from them and get the Genji items. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get the first 2, and they were from the first part of the fight. But the guide is like retarded and doesn't mention that until the very last line of the like 4-sentence paragraph of information. It's like, oh, by the way, you steal this and this if you do it over and over again. So I missed out on 2 Genji items, and I missed out on the 3rd one too because I just could not steal it from the guy. And then the 4th one I got was I think it was the Genji armor. And so I just reset the game. And that's after I fought him for the first fight, so I can't get 2 of the Genji items. It's really dumb. Don't miss the Genji items if you do it. You'll miss 2 of them.
Is that okay? It's during a hunt though, right?
Yeah, it's when you fight. Oh shit! What is his name? Gilgamesh.
Okay.
It's the Gilgamesh hunt, and it's a blast. But I really messed up, and I saved after the first phase, so I can't get 2 of them, which sucks. But I don't know. I'm just gonna keep retrying it until I get the glove and just say screw everything else. What about you? Where are you in Final Fantasy 12?
Well, I went through the whole giant puzzle where you have to get the thingy, and then you go to Mount Baromesis again, and you fight the boss. And so yeah, I fought the boss, and now I have to head to Nalbina.
Wow, that's how do you feel about Nalbina?
I don't know. I haven't been there.
You don't remember?
No, I don't. I don't remember Nalbina. I'm sorry. Should I?
No, I'm just messing with you. It's fine.
Okay, there's like a million places in that game, so I'm...
Yeah, it's a very...
yeah, there's a lot of name-heavy... It's a very name-heavy game as far as locations, equipment, people, things. Like any RPG, but I think a little bit more than, let's say, Final Fantasies 1 through 10.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 10 really simplified things. I mean, with 12, you don't have... I mean, it's like a callback. You've got your weapon slot, your shield slot, your armor slot, your freaking cuffs,
your coin
extra
slot.
item. Yeah, your coin slot, all of it. You've got the helmet, the gloves, the fucking shield. Whereas 10, you've got your sword and your bangle. That's it. Weapon, bangle. That's the whole game. So it is more RPG-ish, I guess. More of a callback to like 4 and 5 and 6.
Very equipment heavy.
Oh yes,
very. Been upgrading equipment because I was having trouble on a boss, and then I leveled up like a crap ton. Then everything else was super easy ever since.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Over leveled and over equipped.
Well, as long as you keep leveling up and not just running away from stuff, you should remain over leveled.
I was never a runner awayer in this playthrough.
Yeah,
never, and somehow things have just been problematic.
Yeah,
there's something about Final Fantasy 12. It was like this the first time I played it.
You just can't do it.
It's just rough. It's rough for me.
Yeah, I don't know why. I can't figure it out, but we'll get through it. We got time.
I guess so. Speaking of time, what time is it, Caleb?
It is news time.
Is it news time?
I think so.
Let's get to the news.
Let's do it. News. All right, so first up in news today.
Who sent us the news this week?
It was Shinru, as always, and oh shit, who was the other person? It was a new forum member.
Okay. Thank you, new member.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry we don't have your name pulled up right now.
Yeah, I switched the page off. But anyway, Final Fantasy 6, 7, and 10 songs were played by the London Symphony
Orchestra.
Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah. What's a symphony?
It's kind of like a sympathy.
Sympathy for
It's a sympathy
infancy?
for a symphony.
Okay.
It's a sympathetic symphony.
Okay.
So Square Enix has announced they will be releasing a Blu-ray disc featuring the orchestrated songs from 6, 7, and 10. Final Symphony. Music from Final Fantasy 6, 7, and 10. Really creative. A second disc bundled with the Blu-ray disc includes MP3 files so fans can take the classy arrangements anywhere they go. So that's pretty cool. They've done all sorts of stuff. They did the Star Wars. They've done Harry Potter. Obviously, they performed these.
The London Symphony Orchestra did these, not Square Enix.
No, yeah, not Square Enix. God. And yeah, so pretty sweet. There's actually a song list on here. Let's see what it's got. Final Fantasy Overture.
Okay.
Circle within a circle within a circle. Okay. Final Fantasy 6. Symphonic Poem. Born with the Gift of Magic. Terra's Theme. Kefka. Esper World and Battle.
Okay, so they're putting together pieces.
Yeah, they're combining. Final Fantasy X Piano Concerto.
Concerto.
To
Xanarkin, Hymn of the Faith, Thunder Plains, and Assault.
Wow.
Xanarkin, Inori, Kessen. Then they're going to play Stecky Dene.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VII, Symphony in 3 Movements. The main theme, Jenova.
What does that spell?
Genova. Tifa's theme and the Great Warrior.
Okay. Nibelheim Incident, Words Drowned by Fireworks, The Planet's Crisis. Final Fantasy VII Continue, question mark?
I think it's
is that over. Like the, the game over screen?
Mm-hmm. And nice. Then Final Fantasy series, fight.
You think if like the composer got really mad that night and like stormed off, would they just play the continue screen music?
That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
I would love that very much.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. They do a great job with their
arrangements.
Arrangements, yeah, they're really good. So, Mobius Final Fantasy update. Dun dun dun. For all of you who care. Adds a samurai, assassin, and the red mage that we just barely talked about a little while ago being a dead class.
Apparently, turns out it's not dead at all.
Apparently they don't think so, yeah. So they recently hit 1 million registered users.
Jeez. Isn't this only in Japan?
I think it is, yeah. Square-Enix, they've already begun their second wave of new content for the game, starting with the second chapter of the game's story, new side story, and of course, extra quests. And some list of things that are new. Main scenario chapter. It's titled Prediction and Hope. Ishtar Desert. Okay. Protagonist and Mog. All right.
Okay.
A bunch of cryptic shit.
A whole bunch of new stuff.
El Dorado of the Oblivion is the title of the side story.
New ancient ruins.
Yeah. There's some new stuff. It looks kind of cool, I guess. I mean, we'll never touch it. Oh, it looks like the Mage's Sisters.
We'll never touch it, but if really no one has like taken us up on this, if you got a mic, really, if you want to play a mobile Final Fantasy to completion and give us a review, just give us an email and we'll tell you how it goes.
Yeah, we will. I mean, if we like it, we'll throw it on an episode.
It's not that way if we like it. I mean, if it just happens, we'll probably put it up. But
yeah, well, I mean, if it's like uber shit.
I got to tell them that, keep it less than 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's cool, I guess. I mean, I did, speaking of mobile games, I did download Record Keeper.
Did you?
I did.
Did you play any of it?
Yeah, I did. I did the first battle in that thing. It was a Final Fantasy VII fight. It was between... I did like a few fights with the guards, and I just killed those guys, and then I did the fight with the Scorpion boss inside the Mako reactor in the beginning of the game. And it was cool, and it did the BS thing where he like puts his tail up really fast, and like I hit him, and he countered me. And then it did the Final Fantasy 15 thing where it's like, oh, you're almost dead, you should summon. So I was like, okay. And
summon to save your ass?
Yeah, I summoned Bahamut, and he just wrecked the Scorpion. He just obliterated the poor bastard. So that was cool, and I'm kind of hoping that 15 is not just like, hey, game's too hard. Well, there you go.
I hope the 15 demo isn't 100% what we'll see in the 15 thing, because if you can just summon to get out of death...
Yeah, that's kind of BS.
Yeah,
although,
what's the point? But I doubt it.
With the Catoblepus, or whatever the hell his name is, that was not the case. I mean,
that's true.
I summoned and he looked dead, but then he stood back up and crushed me with his head.
That's true. Yeah.
So we'll see. So Final Fantasy VII G-Bike has another event, apparently. Not that we've played it. And they added Phoenix and a new bike.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. A very colorful Phoenix. It looks like it's celebrating gay marriage.
Certain events that have happened in the north.
It's a very colorful Phoenix, I would say.
It's true. And I think this thing is inflated. I mean, look at his HP. We're looking at it here. 103,500 HP. Is that like... what is
That's not too bad for a boss.
Well, no, but I wonder what the inflation rate is within G-Bike.
Oh, like what we talked about last week?
Yeah, like what we talked about with the 13 being just numbers mindlessly flying across the screen.
Who knows?
Definitely not us, because we're definitely not playing this right now.
So it looks interesting. Once again, if you want to learn Japanese and get that on the mobile device of your choice.
It's true. And
give us a review.
Yeah, let us know. And apparently they do the Flame Rebirth as the Phoenix Limit skill. So that's kind of standard. Well, that's cool.
Is that all our news for this week?
Yeah, it was.
I think we forgot to say last week that Heaven's Word was released for Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
So in case you didn't know.
Yeah, by the
Heaven's
way.
word.
Totally out. And I think the reason why we didn't mention it, I don't think we did. But
No, I
the
don't
reason
think we
why
did.
is because we missed it the week before, and then we're just like, oh, God, it's too late. But yeah, everyone's been raving about it. All the guys we played 11 with, they say it's fantastic. They're super excited about it, and I think it looks great. I mean, we saw the release of it, and the trailer was amazing looking.
Yep.
So finally get to see it.
We saw the release of the trailer.
Release of the trailer, yeah, not the release of the game itself, because it just barely happened. And you can't really just see it unless you're like right there. But
All right. Well, Schweiss, let's talk about the history of Square-Enix.
all right, let's do it.
All right, Schweiss. This is the history of Square Enix Part 1, which I have titled Rise of the Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
And there's a very specific reason for that title. Tell me, Schweiss, have you ever thought... I mean, what do you think real estate has to do with video games? Like, when you think video games, do you think real estate? Or when you think real estate, do you think video games?
Not at all, actually, no.
No?
Why would I?
Why would you not?
Because they are two very different industries.
Exactly. So unless you're talking about some sort of simulation game like Real Estate Sim, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? You wouldn't normally associate the two vastly different subjects whatsoever. But real estate is where Square Enix all started.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, I mean, Square Enix we know of an amalgamation of two companies, but this is where one of the companies all started. Real estate tabloids were sold by a little company formed in 1975, and at the time it was called I'm sorry, I'm going to screw up the Japanese here. Densha Boshu Service Center, and that was created by Japanese architect and entrepreneur Yasuhiro Fukushima.
I've never heard of that man.
You've never heard of that man?
Nope.
Well, if you knew the top 40 Japanese, the top 40 richest people in Japan, you would know that name. He's the 39th.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How would he feel about you eating bread while talking about his story?
I don't know.
He's probably like, no, bread, no.
Disrespectful.
Yeah. Send you a friggin' Tonto in the mail.
So, Yasuhiro Fukushima was and still is an intelligent businessman. After graduating from Nihon University in 1970 and spending some time in America, he decided that he wanted to get into the personal computer business after seeing its popularity in the States. I assume he was in California or Silicon Valley or somewhere close to there at that time.
Yeah.
And after a failed attempt to go national with his business in 1982, he decided to do just that and change the company's name to Enix, an amalgamation of the word ENIAC, which is the name of the world's first digital computer, and Phoenix, the bird that rises from its own ashes in mythology.
Oh, interesting.
So it was like he was rebirthing his own company.
Oh, that's a good thing to name it then. So unfortunately, Mr. Fukushima didn't know any programmers or computer professionals.
A very similar start to Square, by the way.
It's true, yes. So he had an idea. He would hold a computer program contest through his newly reformed company to bring the computer professionals to him. Over 300 programmers, over 300 programs maybe by different people. I'd be sick if they just like
maybe 300 programmers.
Who knows? Yeah, were submitted into the contest, and Fukushima used his entrepreneurial prowess to select the most commercially viable options and hired those that showed a talent in commercial entertainment. One of the winners of the contest, Koichi Nakamura, would later be a key player behind the scenes of the Dragon Quest games.
So, two of the winners, and we'll see here in a second, one of which made a game called Door Door, the other of which made some kind of tennis simulation game. Those two winners actually worked together later on, and we'll talk about that.
All right.
So what he did was he set up this whole contest just so that he could get people to make programs that he could later publish. So at the time, software companies were kind of doing everything in-house and selling their own stuff, right? And it was for the passion of doing software, computer games, whatever they were doing at the time. Enix didn't run like other software companies at the time. Rather than focusing on in-house programming for their properties, they would often outsource their game ideas, causing Enix at the time to act more like a publishing company, similar to like a book publishing company, even utilizing a system of royalties for their contractors, which at the time, of course, as I said, was an unheard of practice in the industry. So unlike Square, Enix didn't develop their own games.
Yeah, they just kind of bought ideas and games from others. That's how a lot of companies do it nowadays, too.
Mm-hmm.
So during the early days of Enix, they released a multitude of now unknown computer game titles.
Right. I was looking all over the place for these computer games that they apparently sold before moving on to the Famicom in Japan.
Mm-hmm. Not big hits.
I couldn't find anything except for what they ported, which we'll read about here.
So some of which were later ported to the Nintendo Famicom, including a tennis game and the popular Door Door game that we talked about, which was their first hit, and it sold over 200,000 copies in 1985.
So not bad. Now, I do want to say something about Door Door. I looked at the Wikipedia article on the game Door Door. That's like a door, like you open a door to go into a room, door. And apparently it's one of the most well-reviewed and classic Nintendo games, but it was never released here in the States.
Huh. That's
so
interesting.
over there, it has like a rich history of being this awesome Nintendo game. Over here,
we'll never know, huh?
Yeah, I guess we'll never know unless you get like a emulator for it. But as big of a hit that Door Door was, their third Famicom game, after the tennis game and after Door Door, that was the one that really put them on the map.
All right, so this one was developed through a company called Chunsoft. Enix would publish a game that would change the history of video games forever. Dragon Quest, which obviously...
Boom, Dragon Quest, yeah.
Which is, Final Fantasy completely, pretty much ripped off and created this awesome series that we play.
Right. So this was led by Koichi Nakamura, contest winner and designer of Door Door, and Yuji Horii, another contest winner of Enix, the guy who made the tennis game, apparently. Their team set out to develop a new kind of computer role-playing game. Now, RPGs were not invented with Dragon Quest. I mean, we had Ultima and a game called Wizardry before.
Right.
And these two were big fans of it. The designers were big fans of the games Ultima and Wizardry and wanted to create a more simplified, console-friendly RPG for release.
And now, of course, what that means is they went in, they added a bigger focus on story and simplicity. Now, when we talk simplicity, we talk gameplay. They ditched the typing interface of Ultima, which is horrifying looking when I watch these Spoonie reviews, and I'm like, oh my God, you have to type everything to these people. I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like, oh God, what did he say?
It is something that I have never experienced.
Can you imagine one of us playing that thing? Just like, oh shit, what was I supposed to tell
I kind
this
of
guy?
want to see what it's like, but you got to get a DOS box to play those old games,
Yeah, we could do it, but we'd have to fill out the manual. Like, I think it'd be fun, though. I think it would be a very different experience. But anyway, they wanted to kill that because of how much of a pain in the ass it was. And they created a much simplified selection-based menu. And they created what we now know as the turn-based battle system. And it pretty much invented the JRPG genre.
Yeah. So, believe it or not, Dragon Quest was not selling well initially when it was released in 1986. But several Shonen Jump, the magazine, articles on the game helped boost the sales of the game in subsequent weeks. Not only was the game revolutionary, but the now famous soundtrack by master composer Koichi Sugiyama and art designed by Dragon Ball artist and creator Akira Toriyama. Those things about the game, not only the gameplay or whatever, but the music, the design, it set the game apart. And with the help of Shonen Jump, apparently, the game would eventually sell over 2 million copies in Japan. And as we said before, it would create the blueprint for JRPGs in the future, including that Final Fantasy, which is what this is all about. Without Dragon Quest, there would be no Final Fantasy. Or, of course, without Ultima and Wizardry and apparently some other game that one of the designers worked on that had a really long title, so I didn't put it in the article. Without those games, Final Fantasy would not have been created.
True.
In the same way.
True, but without the...
It would have been typing.
Without the ripoff of Pong, whatever that... No, not the ripoff of Pong. The really early version of Pong that I forget the name of, we wouldn't have video games at all.
It's called Pong.
And without... No, there's something before it. Pong wasn't the first game.
No, I know it wasn't the first game, but...
There's
okay, like whatever the first video game was.
It's like a ripoff of... Not a ripoff of Pong. It's before Pong, but it's the same thing. We wouldn't have that. And then you know what? If we wouldn't have... Discover. No, I'm just fucking. Yeah. So what else happened?
Electronics.
Yeah. Oil and, you know, there's so many things.
Tesla, Edison.
Yeah. So.
You can just go back and math, but especially Dragon Quest. I mean, the Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, and Legend of Zelda games are linked in a very specific way that my friend Caleb was talking about earlier. And you can actually see this, is that if you go to a grave site, I believe in... I think it's one of the Legend of Zelda games. It says here lies, and then a main character from the Dragon Quest games. Now, me and you haven't played very much of the Dragon Quest games. We're going to have Caleb Craig on here, but we're missing a microphone, so he was going to talk about the Dragon Quest games a little bit more. But it had the here lies whoever there, and then the Final Fantasy games. The first Final Fantasy, do you remember that headstone that said here lies Link?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had that there. And then the Dragon Quest game had a similar thing. So they all kind of like were pulling things from each other, those game series, which is, I think is kind of cool. So yeah, Dragon Quest, it really was a big thing over in Japan, and it really spawned a lot of great stuff later in the future. Now, that game did come to the US, and it was called Dragon Warrior because of a copyright dispute or a trademark dispute over the name.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't as well received here, I believe, because it was released after the first Final Fantasy, and it was compared to it, and it wasn't... People didn't see it as good, but, you know, it's a very important game to the genre.
Yeah, and I mean, Caleb Craig would counter that because he claims that he prefers Dragon Quest 1 over Final Fantasy 1, which I would hope it would be more entertaining. But, you know, who knows?
So, what else happened in 1986? I mean, 1986 was the year that Dragon Quest was released. What else happened?
Oh, man, I think...
Okay, I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
Is the formation of a little company named Square.
Dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So, tune in next time whenever we decide to do the history of Square-Enix Part 2.
Well, you know what, Joe? I think it's about time we started answering some questions. What do you think?
I think I'm okay with that. Let's do that.
Okay.
Questions for us. We would like to hear from you. To our moments. Or contact us on Twitter. Get
quickly.
This is the question segment. Ask and you will receive.
Yeah. All right, so first up in questions today. This one comes from Really511. Really.
Mm-hmm.
It's titled Awesome Summons. I feel like we may have talked about this before, but whatever. What do you guys think is the most amazing summon moment in all FF history? His favorite summon is Leviathan, but the most amazing moment is when Alexander is summoned in Final Fantasy Type 0.
I thought I was going to say Final Fantasy 9.
Yeah, that was a pretty decent one. That summon literally made anyone I showed it to drop their mouths open.
Well, if we're going to talk about open mouths, I'd say Shiva from FF8 or Siren from FF8, whichever one has the least amount of clothing.
I'm not even sure which one has the least amount of clothing.
Those are great summons. Dude, I have to say, there is no better summon so far than the FF15 demo of Rama.
Yeah.
Really.
It's pretty awesome.
There just isn't anything to top just the epicness of that. So I know a lot of people here have their favorites, but I mean, it's been outdone.
Yeah.
Really. I didn't think a summon animation could be that good.
Well, it is a pretty good one, but I think Knights of the Round is pretty awesome.
Okay.
And I think Knights of the Round and the
good.
HD remake of Final Fantasy VII is going to be amazing. Hopefully I can skip the fucking cutscene after the first part, though. Like, I want to see it one time or two times all the way through. And then after that, I want to do the little option in FF10 where it's like shorter version. I don't need to wait 5 minutes. I just want to kill
How
stuff.
about the instant version?
Or the instant version, yeah. Just they billion damage or whatever the hell they do.
It's an action game.
All right, so 15's Ramu and Knights of the Round for us. For me. And yeah. I think the 15 Ramu was amazing, though. Mm-hmm. It's like, when I summoned it, I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. He's huge. He looks friggin' amazing.
It's so cool.
Such death is rained down from above. It's great. Great question there. All right, well, we got one from Light Sage here. I haven't heard from her in a while. She says, other games from E3 2015. I know that the announcement of the Final Fantasy VII Remake and the World of Final Fantasy were the only announcements out of E3 that were worthy of being news in a Final Fantasy podcast. I would like to know what other announcements that came out of E3 that you guys are excited for. I was very excited for a lot of game announcements coming out of E3 in this year that finally convinced her to buy a PS4. The non-Final Fantasy games that she's excited for is The Last Guardian, Horizon Zero Dawn, Kingdom Hearts 3. Does that count as an FF game?
Yes,
No.
it does.
No, not really, but we're going to play it
It does
anyway.
count in our playthrough.
It does, yes, to us.
And if there is big Kingdom Hearts news, we try to talk about it.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty big, though, which it usually is.
Yeah.
And Fallout 4. Not really. I didn't really watch anything
You're not
else.
excited for any of those things announced.
You know what? I tried to play Fallout 3, and I know everyone's going to bitch, but I couldn't play it.
Huh.
I would, the game was so bullshit to me. I would wander out in the wasteland, and I was like, oh man, this is really awesome. And then I would get killed by something, and the autosave would be hours back. I seriously lost like an hour and a half of just wandering around, checking stuff out. And it autosaves for most towns, but not most buildings. So I lost so much time that I was like, I can't play this. I am done. My life was ruined right there. I could have been doing anything in that hour and a half, and I can't now.
And yet you suffer through FF12s.
I don't die nearly as often in FF12.
Well, you don't save nearly as often either.
True, and when I do die, it can be rough, but I don't know. Fallout 4, the trailer looked really good, though. I watched the
Cameron was like freaking out over that Fallout 4 presentation. My roommate.
He's really into 3.
He is. Out of all the games I've heard that were announced over there, I gotta say The Last Guardian, which we've been waiting for like, I don't know, 10 years it feels like.
Yeah.
I'm still excited for that game. Good, more Team Eco stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on it.
In fact, I got excited about like Shadow of the Colossus stuff earlier today, so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have that on the PS3?
Not on the PS3, no. Not yet.
It's pretty, well, Eco's
Well, yeah,
good.
that's great.
Yeah, obviously it's a great game. So, all right. I guess we got a couple people for The Last Guardian. I think that's going to be amazing. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus, as we've said, is top tier game. I mean, it's really good. So I'm hoping that it lives up to that. I don't see why it wouldn't, but. All right, so we have one here from Gammon Stark. It's titled The Best Deal. Just chatting about Lord of the Rings, The Third Age.
This is a question for
Jake,
you.
And stated that it was the best $1.50 I've ever spent. Got to love being so far behind in games that I am picking up good games on the cheap several years down the line. I also lucked out at a library sale and picked up Dungeon Master, a non-fiction book about the early police investigations into Dungeons and Dragons. What the hell? For 25 cents. So what deals have you guys stumbled across on games and books? Oh, just remembered another. I picked up a Xenogears Greatest Hits for $10 in a GameStop. In
$10?
Early aughts. eBay sellers want at least $50 for it at the time.
Okay, I bought mine for like 20 something.
Yeah,
my Xenogears, which I thought was a
wanna-
great deal. Not that good though.
Dude, I passed that up like 20 times. I was like, I looked at the back every time. I look at the back of that game and I'm like, I don't want to buy this. This looks like bullshit.
Why?
It's fucking mech suits. It's like I'm playing a JRPG version of Transformers.
Well, it's on our playthrough list.
I know, and it's supposed to be really good, but can you imagine at this moment, with all the Michael Bay freaking Transformers movies, how god-awful that seems from someone in my shoes, a JRPG version of Transformers. And I know it's probably nothing like that.
Transformers is Japanese, not Michael Bay's Transformers.
No, but I mean, like, just a...
At least I think so, right?
I don't know if it is. I fucking don't know. It doesn't matter.
I didn't watch Transformers as a kid.
I watched the old movie. It was sweet, but I don't know. It just looks like something I didn't want. Plus, I'm really picky on my games. I don't want to buy it if it's a greatest hits copy. I'm like a friggin' purist.
What's the matter
at times. It just looked. I hate the green bar. It looks like shit. And I wanted the one with the booklet, which I sacrificed for Parasite Eve because it doesn't have the booklet. But I didn't realize that because I bought it when I picked up that huge collection that this dude dropped by. It was like his entire life collection of Square games. And I was like, okay, it's got to have the booklet in there. And I just picked it up. But
Didn't.
no, I didn't. I'm like, no. It was still a really good deal, though.
Yeah, that is a good deal.
I bought that for about, I'd say $15. That was a decent price. That wasn't fantastic, but I don't know. I want to say the best thing I've ever run into was when I bought the Final Fantasy VII for PC at DI. I bought it for $2.
DI, Deseret Industries.
Deseret Industries. It's a LDS run thrift store here in Utah. $2. Okay, and I went home and I listed it on Amazon for $78. I made $59 to $60 on that thing. And that was before the Steam release. That was like a year before the Steam release. So I sold that bad boy in the nick of time. Because the value on that thing has dropped like a Led Zeppelin. And I don't know, what else have I gotten a really good deal on? I gave you a really good deal on my Black Label misprint FF7 copy when I was going through that like money crisis phase where I didn't have any freaking funds. Sold it to you for $50, which is how much I bought it for. And
yeah, I enjoy it to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in better condition than my greatest hits version.
Well, yeah, it's been. I didn't even play the thing, so I would hope so. And I think that's about it for my finds. Have you found anything worthy of note?
I found a Vagrant Story Black Label with the demo still inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like $30, I think.
Oh, that reminds me of my FF5-6 thing. Mine's got the music disc on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's the...
That's because you got the Black Label.
Yeah, the Black Label's better. I'm telling you. It's not just an aesthetic thing. It's a legitimate discrepancy between the bullshit greatest hits version and the Black Label of the game. They reward you for buying it when it's early, when it's a newer game. I wonder if they just know. They're like, this is going to be really good. So let's give all these black ones the extra disc, and the green ones will have nothing. Nothing at all.
I got greatest hits of almost everything.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't care. It's about the game.
Yeah, it mostly is, but I like everything to be in really good condition and try to do the original. It's worth more money. And, My Legend of Dragoon is another cool one. It's got the colored discs on the PS1 game. It looks really good on the artwork on it. So I'd say those.
Yeah, some good deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caleb got some real good deals.
Yeah, Joe, not so much, I guess. But all right, so the next question comes from Void. This is FF on PC. With the recent announcement of FF Type 0 being released on PC, it seems like Square-Enix is slowly moving over to the model of realizing their games on all current-gen systems plus PC.
At the same time.
Yes. How do you guys feel about this? Overall, he thinks it's great. It gives more people access to the awesomeness that is Final Fantasy. His only concern is that they don't care too much about releasing FF games on console and PC at the same time. If they were released on the same day, I would probably opt for PC more often. But if the current trend continues, it seems like they release months, if not years, after on the console.
I still have that piece of me that, you know, flight simulators, any kind of simulation game, shooters are okay. Anything with kind of an overhead view with a lot of clicking, that's a PC game to me. Anything where it's like an action element involved, which many of the Final Fantasies have, or any of the traditional turn-based kind of movements with it, I feel like it's best with the controllers. So although I am really cool with them going into the PC direction, it's not something I'm hoping for. Like, it's not something that I'm dying to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're much more into the PC stuff.
Yeah, I'd rather not buy another PlayStation console.
I'd really rather not have to update my PC if a new Final Fantasy comes out.
It's not going to stretch mine, and I've had it for 3 years.
Well, let's say down the road, Final Fantasy 18.
I'd be willing to spend that down the road rather than...
And it only comes out on PC.
Yeah, that'd be kind of brutal. I don't want it to be only PC, but I'd rather them at least have the option available and not some bullshit 5 years later. Oh, by the way,
it's definitely, it's not going to hurt the company to do that.
No, I think it'd be great. And I may have gone with it.
With PC releases now, it's all download. Like, they hardly ever put out a physical copy of a PC game.
Yeah, and I mean, even with
so
that,
odd to me, but you know,
even with that, you can get special editions with the art book and stuff like that. So I would probably opt for it more. I mean, I'd probably get a controller, a nice Microsoft controller or whatever, and play it on there. But you can set your PC up to be your console. My PC is probably better than my PS4, and it's a 3.5-year-old computer.
That's impressive.
And or at least on par with the thing. There's nothing that's on the PC right now that really strains it that I've played. So I don't know. I kind of know what you mean. It has that feel to it, but you can always hook a controller up. We just never do.
Yeah, I don't mind. It's cool. I'm cool with them doing it.
Yeah,
I don't want them to go only to PC though. That'd be annoying.
Nah, maybe an exclusive, but not like an exclusive mainline or anything. They do that shit with a DS. Do you really want to buy a DS, Joe? What are you going to do with the DS?
I have to buy a DS for the show.
What are you going to do with the 3DS after the Final Fantasy games?
I'm going to flush it down a toilet because I don't give a shit.
You're never going to touch it again because we don't have time for Pokemon. We don't have time for that shit anymore. It's amazing, but we don't have time for it. That's the problem, is like the PC, at least you can do your homework on it later.
So,
this one is FF11 offline.
Yeah.
And it's from Kaftor. I think that's what you pronounce
has
it.
3 posts. Get back on the forum.
Yeah. Well, he's pretty new, I think. But he says, hey, guys, thanks for the podcast. Found it about 1 month ago and have been binging. He's up to the FF11 review. So I played probably over 500 hours of 11. Not sure why. But I have an OCD addiction to completing things. So here's my
That's
question.
the wrong thing to pick up if you got that.
Yeah, 11 you should have never touched, man. So here's this question. I was wondering, after the servers close down completely, if you think people would be willing to pay $250 or so for a machine that could contain the entire game and have 6 outputs for keyboards and TVs for local multiplayer at your own pace.
So they're giving you a server?
Yeah, I realize a few changes in difficulty and auction house would need to be made, but I would love to get a group to do this at our own pace. What do you think?
Wow, I don't think that'll ever happen. It is an interesting idea, though. I think the best option for Square Enix would be just, the game's got to be small enough for a computer to handle it now.
Well, you could just privatize the servers, too.
You could.
Square could just say, we're done.
Yeah.
Be like, the game is as is. If you guys want to change, make updates, you can, and we don't want to do any anymore.
It would be interesting to have some sort of local play with it. I'm thinking he's also talking about. So
It's like a land.
I think it's a cool idea. Don't think it's ever going to happen, but it's a cool idea.
Yeah. It would be fun, but I can't see myself just occasionally getting on FF11. I would have to play it and then not play it anymore. That's how I do these games. And I don't think it's fun enough, personally, to just have like oh man, I can't wait for 11 night kind of a feeling going on. It's just like, oh fuck, I got to go back into this thing.
Fuck, 11 night.
I got to go talk to this person and then talk to this person. And then, because like, I don't know. I think it'd be fun. And don't get me wrong, it'd be sweet to just have, a group of 7 or 8 dudes just going at the Final Fantasy 11.
Could stop the sentence there.
Stop the gangbang of FF11. But no, I think that'd be
awesome. It was so awesome.
everyone just in a nice circle in the room. And,
Okay, all right. Continue on before we get a bad iTunes review. All right.
oh, come on. Who would do that? All right. This one is titled Go FF Yourself.
Okay, go F yourself. All right, let's go to the next
Chocobo
question.
Chica. So she poked around a bit to see if this question had been asked, but she doesn't think it has been. We all know who your favorite characters are, playable, villain, etc., but who is closest to your actual personality and why? Maybe you fancy yourself a Balthier, but you're actually more of a Steiner. Even though FF13 is pretty far down on your list of favorites, where it belongs, I think I'm pretty similar to Fang. Or is she similar to me? I was here first. No, maybe. It depends on the year. She's feisty, says what's on her mind.
Has an
whether
Australian accent.
anyone wants her to
Smoking
or
hot.
not, and is super loyal to those she's close to.
And holds a spear.
/3. What about everyone else? Or I guess less than.
Less than 3.
Yeah, it's a heart.
It took me like a year and a half to figure it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I got a cell phone late in life.
Apparently.
Who is closest to me? Oh, jeez, dude. Oh, I should have thought about this question before we answered it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to save this one for next week?
No. I
No?
don't.
You got an answer?
Yeah, I think mine would probably be Sid from 7. I swear frequently.
Sid from 7.
I'm kind of a jerk. I know my way around a spear. I don't know. I'm really good. I don't have a plane. But I don't know. I just feel like he's similar to me. I'm not really I have like a southern accent like he does, but I swear a lot and I'm not like Barrett, so I'd go with Sid.
I could, on my worst days, be a little like Cypher.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Douche. But no, and then another thing with Sid, I mean, he's a good guy. He's just kind of an asshole to everybody at times when they mess up. Like
Yeah. Sid.
Yeah.
In 7.
Yeah. Well, he's Sid in every game. Technically.
That is an interesting question. I would like to see what the other people said, but Caleb clicked away from it.
Yep, it's gone now.
Don't worry about it.
We don't get to see it.
Remind me of that one later.
You'll revisit?
and I'll revisit it because I never thought about it.
All right, yeah, some of these questions we can't just come up on the drop of a dime.
Like
or anything.
what FF character is closest to me?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Can you think of one?
No,
No.
not really. I mean, I could think of one for me, one for Caleb,
Dude.
maybe even one for Scode. He'd be Amaranth.
Yeah.
Just leave me, dude.
I have no idea.
Oh, man. All right, so this one and the last one for today. Will you play the FF remake? This one is from Amerlane.
Okay.
1. Big question about the Final Fantasy VII remake for you all. Technically, you both went over it already, albeit in a small capacity. But will you guys
A small
replay?
capacity?
Yeah.
What's a large capacity?
Well, this part of the topic we didn't go over very far.
Oh.
It was just a last minute thing. But will you guys play the remake for the show? The reason I ask is you never gave a concrete answer. Joe didn't want to, yet Caleb did.
That's where we still stand.
Now, to comment on the argument that it is simply a remake, and if you played it, you would have to play the other 4 or so that were remade, not really true. The others were simply ported, for the most part.
No.
They contain tweaks to the graphics, difficulty, and translation. Granted, there are a few other additional things, but they don't really
Brand new translations.
anything and major story differences. That being said, the only game you could make an argument for about replacing it is the FF4 remake to the DS, because it's a legit remake. For all the previous stuff mentioned, it also has more story and stuff added to it, plus he thinks it has another character.
Okay. FF4 does have some story added to it.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the original. Yep, it's true. And so does FF3, but we played the remake of FF3 and not the original.
Well, we can't play the original.
We, in fact, played the remakes of... We played a remake of one. I played Dawn of Souls, and you played the PlayStation version.
Yeah.
Both of those are remade from the original. We both played the remake, the PlayStation remake of 2. We both played the remake of 3, the 3D DS version.
Mm-hmm.
And on that similar note, I played a remake of 4, but you played a port on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it counts. I don't think 7's remake is any different than 4 or 3's remake. Since it's completely overhauled.
Okay.
And might add some other story elements into it. It's still a remake. I don't think we should do it. Caleb does, though. He doesn't even have to say anything. I know he thinks we should play it. If only for our podcasting audience. So this is a question that would have to be answered later.
Yeah.
Later, like 2 years down the road when the game actually comes out.
Yeah, I still think we should play it for the reasons that he listed, because it is more of a remake. It's going to be more of a remake than any of the other ones.
So shall we replay number 4?
No, fuck 4. We're not going to play that again. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Fuck the ending. Fuck the wedding scene. Fuck everyone coming back to life.
I liked the game. I liked the game, just not. It's not
was
as
a
good
great game.
in comparison to.
It was
the
a
other
great
FF
game
games that we
until
played
the
since.
last hour, and then it's like, oh hey, remember all those emotional moments during the game? Oh yeah, that's all bullshit. It didn't happen. Everyone's fine. Fucking goddamn it! They fucked it up, man. It was so good, and then they fucked it up. Anyway, the rest of his question. Now, on to the 7 remake. Honestly, even though it's a remake to the story, the story seems like it will be changed enough to warrant another playthrough, since Nomura had said they are going to add more stuff to make it flow better, as well as remove stuff that made no sense. So even though it is a remake, at the same time, it's also a different game in its own right.
You could say that of the other remakes, though.
I mean, if you guys are deadlocked on whether to play it, make it a challenge or something. Like Joe plays the original and Caleb plays the remake instead, and just a review to compare and contrast. Now, we've done that with a couple, sort of. What was it? 1, I guess, was a little different, and
4.
And 4, yeah, but it was mostly aesthetic. Well, for 4, it looked really good on your.
Yeah,
version.
I played the PSP version of 4, which is amazing.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, plenty of time to make a decision. So ask that question then.
Yeah, he says,
I'd
regardless, you have at least 2 years.
This is a
until it
question
comes
that
out.
makes me so uncomfortable because there's that part of me that has the list and the order of the list and the rules of the list. And the more that we break them, the worse it's going to be for us.
Yeah. Well, as long as we make a pact to never front load the good games and then just have a year or so of crappy Final Fantasy, not a crappy quote unquote, like the worst games, then we should be fine.
Okay.
That is a worry though, because everyone's like, oh, hey, play this one. Oh, play
There's a
this
very
one.
specific order for everything right now.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe the 7 it could fit in at some point, but.
All right. So, do we have any iTunes reviews, Bryce? We do.
We do.
We do. We're going to save it for next week, though, since it's 2:00 in the morning. We're running out of time, and we can't open up the iTunes thing yet.
Of course we can.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Caleb's typing it in. We're scrolling over to us because we dropped in the ranks. What the crap? Why? That was it right there.
Yeah, we really got rocked.
Yeah. We had our best month, and then we just dropped. We actually got 2 new iTunes reviews.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Wow.
And they're both 5 stars, oddly. One of which is from Halsey from last week. He gave us a review.
Yeah, he
Looks like he changed something here.
he did. He changed his 3 to a 5 and said, "Great podcast. Cares about their listener base."
Thank you, Halsey.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Let's see. Is this one new too?
This one is new, yes.
All right, this one is called "The Best Final Fantasy Podcast" by Valkyria. No, I don't know. Is that true?
It's
yeah,
new.
It is.
It's new.
The hosts are incredibly real, personal, and without pretense. Caleb is incredibly grounded, empathetic, and looks at the games.
Bullshit. Caleb's a dick.
And looks at the games and news with a very balanced perspective.
So balanced.
Joe brings a level of energy and engagement that he doesn't see in other podcasts.
Thank you.
He skirts on the line of crude and funny, but never crosses it. Hell, you're not funny.
I never cross from crude to funny.
Yeah,
just always stay on crude. Yeah.
Stay on that crude side.
Oh, did I read that wrong? I'm sorry.
No, it's crude and funny, so you're neither.
Oh, I never crossed that line.
Watch for the reviews. Stay for the personalities. Fan from the first episode.
The first episode. Thank you very much, Valkyria.
Yeah, man.
That's a very nice review. I'm glad that you're from the first episode.
That's a hell of a lot of dedication. I'll tell you what. That one was rough.
But balanced. Come on. Okay, come on. I think you're getting us confused.
Yeah, I'm way more balanced than you.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All right.
I would say that I don't know about grounded, and I think I'm way more crude than you are. But
I think so, but maybe not on the show.
Maybe not.
That's what I'm thinking.
Real life me is a little different, though.
Yeah, real life. Yeah. Uncensored Caleb. You should see it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's way more uncensored than this episode, which is
all right. So, just so you guys know, you got to follow us on Twitter at UFF Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. YouTube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. Go to Facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy to find us there and like us and
donate to us.
Send
on
us
Patreon.
Messages, whatever. Yeah, donate on Patreon, please.
$1 a month, and we'll give you guys the episodes a day-ish early. Whenever we're done.
Whenever we're done recording.
And whenever I wake up the next morning, if it's like today.
Make sure you go to Twitch. Caleb's streaming 12. Twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy. Sometimes he even streams other games.
Yeah, when I play COD occasionally, I'll stream that too.
Yeah. And of course, all this information, everything can be found on our website, ultimafinalfantasy.com. And please, please, please join our forums. Talk amongst yourselves.
All right. Oh, I had a promise last week or during my streaming. Remember that contest that we made?
Yeah, you got it?
I don't have the item, but I mean, it's something I can buy. I have an idea for it, though. let's say, you're coming over Wednesday, right?
Maybe. Do I need to?
Well, you're gonna play 12.
Okay.
We'll do Wednesday. Let's go 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. I'm gonna ask a question on the Twitch stream. Now, this is something I gotta make sure I remember to do. And the first person to answer it gets the, as before mentioned, Final Fantasy 14 gift card thing.
A piece of Final Fantasy trivia.
A piece of Final Fantasy trivia.
Okay, and where do they need to answer this?
On the Twitch stream.
Oh, okay.
So go to Twitch, follow us, make sure you're on when I'm on, and when 8 o'clock rolls around my time, I'm going to post a random question. Just pause the stream and ask it, and then the first person who throws up the right answer will get the gift card. It's a Final Fantasy 14 like trial thing, or not trial, but like a subscription amount. Okay. So we got to figure out the logistics of that. Yeah, we'll figure it out. And Wednesday. Yeah, and then you guys will play 14 with us, at least for one of the months or 2 months or however, whatever I do for it. I haven't decided yet, but it's going to be something with the subscription for 14. Maybe I'll do it for the 2 months that we're playing. We could do that. That's fine. You got our last week's question from us to you. So yeah, get on the Twitch stream, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock Wednesday. Mountain Standard Time. Yes, make sure you know what that is. On Wednesday. What are we, ahead of Pacific Time by 1 hour? God, I don't remember, dude. Or behind? I am the worst when it comes to which ocean is which. Like, all I know is Gulf of Mexico for the win, but that doesn't matter at all for this. All right, so questions from us to you. Last week, we said, who in the FF community do you guys want us to interview? And here's the answers. Amerline says, honestly, and no joke intended, it'd be neat to see you interview someone from FF, Kingdom Hearts Union, just to see what makes them tick and compare your two podcasts. Or the damn Chocobo guys. They seem like they'd be fun guests. That'd be an awkward interview, I'd say. Well, especially with Union, because we were such dicks to them back in the day. Weeks ago. Yeah, it was weeks ago, guys. Come on, it's episodes Get over ago. It. Yeah, quit being a baby. It's just in our blood to conquer Europe. Yeah. From us, anyway, as far as the U.S. ratings go. Kefka Palooza talked about getting people who did the translations, marketing, or who voiced the characters, and thinks it would be fun to speak to James Arnold Taylor, which is, of course, voiced Titus. That would be really cool. Final Fantasy X. Not sure if we could do that, but it's worth a try, I guess. I guess so. You know, after I saw that question, I was like, I'm going to jump on Twitter. And then I realized I had a new little phone thingy, my SD card. And I was like, shit, I'm not logged into the Twitter. Oh. I couldn't get logged in. I can't remember what the freaking password is. Let me tell you it over. Yeah. What is that, by the way? All right. So I actually couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I'd have to think about it. Yeah. I don't remember, obviously. He says, either way, love damn Chocobo. It was listening to them that led him to us. I assume it was the contest that we had. Okay, some FF12 executives. He says they'd be an easy option. Yeah, wouldn't they? Yeah, they're like, no one plays our game. Or speaks our language. Let's see. He says you'd be surprised. Kefka says you'd be surprised how many people, like how willing they would be to do an interview with someone like us, like regardless of our I would be surprised. Our listener base. I guess I would be. I mean, maybe not a voice actor. Like, honestly, what are they doing? I mean, they're busy. Yeah, but they're not that busy. They're not that busy. Come on. They're busy getting jobs. Yeah, it's different, I guess, because they get paid per project, so they got to go from project to project. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be easier to do one of those guys than like Tabata or something like that, something insane, because he's busy making the franchise not die. Not in English. Yeah, that would be a pain. This is probably my favorite answer to this. Is from a Happy Our House. Interview someone who wrote fan fiction, dive into their freaky mind so we can laugh at them from home. Yeah, that would be fun.
That's more for super sexy, but yeah, I get it.
We could do a super sexy interview, I guess.
Shinra says the FXN people, big fans of the series, or the guys behind the original FF3 NES translation. That would be interesting.
It would be, yeah.
I think that's still Ted Woolsey, though.
I don't know.
I think it was Ted Woolsey from like 1 on. I might be wrong, though.
I'm not sure about FF3.
I thought it was 1 through 6 was all him. In that, no, because he did translations for like FF5 and stuff, and then they said they weren't going to bring it across. So,
that's
I think Ted Woolsey would be really cool.
I think it'd be a possibility too. I mean, what's he doing? No, just kidding.
He's got all those great lines too. Like you Spoony Bard.
Yeah, he's come up with some of the most awesome little quips in the games. Let's see. Most of all, FF15 special or FF5 special charity group that each year tons of people sign up to do playthroughs through FF5. And I actually saw these guys, I feel like, on Twitch. I saw somebody playing FF5. There's like 4 people. I was like, what the hell? I log on to Twitch and I'm like, oh, let's check Final Fantasy. Just because I'm like, oh, who else is playing? And then I see somebody like playing FF5 and I was like, why? I click into it. I mean, not why. It's a great game, but it's confusing to me. And I click into it and there's like 4 screens and there's guys doing a speed run of 5. Like 4 people just playing it as fast as they can.
All right.
And it was a charity thing. It was pretty cool. I bet you that
is cool.
That was them.
And we'll look into that.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of fun. Yeah. Well,
Schweiss, you got a question from us to them this week?
Oh my God, I really don't.
You really don't have a question?
I haven't thought of anything.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
That's too bad. I tell you what, you guys. Now, I did get a question on Facebook on how to start a podcast. How many of you guys on the forum are interested in starting a podcast? And if you are interested, what would you like to know about starting one? And I guess that's a question for a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would that podcast be about? That's what I'm interested in. If you guys are interested at all in starting podcasts, because like it's this big open new art form that has just popped up after the last few years. So, and I know if you're listening to podcasts, you're probably not just listening to our podcast, you're probably listening to a lot of podcasts out there. So, I'm just wondering, like, what are you guys interested in doing as far as podcasts go?
All right. And if you already do a podcast, what is it?
Please tell us.
Yeah. Let us know and we'll
I know, not an FF question, but I'm interested.
All right.
In seeing that.
That's fair enough. I mean, we are an FF podcast after all.
All right.
So that works too.
So I think that's going to end it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yes. Enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGollier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGollier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.